Tune in for the audio, or you can even watch back. Giving players all the props, or put them on blast. We don't give no hot takes, only talk facts.
We're giving all our devotion, riding high on this wave of emotion. Going all out, yeah, cause this is our time. No, ain't no stopping us till we reach the finish line. All in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick. On fire, we're ready to fight. We'll bring the house down tonight. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick.
Play it on the car ride, play it when you lounge. X and O, you know that we can hold it down. Shout out to my man Sammy, got it off the ground. And to all the listeners tuned in right now, got debates, analysis, and speculation. This is sports talk for the new generation. You know where to find us, got a reputation. Sick podcast, your #1 sports destination.
We're giving all our devotion, riding high on this wave of emotion. Going all out, yeah, cause this is our time. No, ain't no stopping us till we reach the finish line. All in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick. On fire, we're ready to fight. We'll bring the house down tonight. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick.
S-I-C-K, it's the sickest podcast. Tune in for the audio, or you can even watch back. Giving players all the props, or put them on blast. We don't give no hot takes, only talk back. S-I-C-K,
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 S-I-C-K.
All in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick.
S-I-C-K, it's the sickest podcast. Tune in for the audio, or you can even watch back. Giving players all the props, or put them on blast. We don't give no hot takes, only talk facts.
We're giving all our devotion, riding high on this wave of emotion. Going all out, yeah, cause this is our time. No, ain't no stopping us till we reach the finish line. All in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick. On fire, we're ready to fight. We'll bring the house down tonight. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick.
Play it on the car ride, play it when you lounge. X and O, you know that we can hold it down. Shout out to my man Sammy, got it off the ground. And to all the listeners tuned in right now, got debates, analysis, and speculation. This is sports talk for the new generation. You know where to find us, got a reputation. Sick podcast, your #1 sports destination.
Giving all our devotion, riding high on this wave of emotion. Going all out, yeah, cause this is our time. No, ain't no stopping us till we reach the finish line. All in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick. On fire, we're ready to fight. We'll bring the house down tonight. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick.
S-I-C-K, it's the sickest podcast. Tune in for the audio, or you can even watch back. Giving players all the props, or put them on blast. We don't give no hot takes, only talk back. S-I-C-K,
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 S-I-C-K.
S-I-C-K.
Turn up your volume. Because you're about to listen to The Sick Podcast. With Tony Marinaro.
55 seconds left in the penalty, a minute and 27 seconds left in regulation time. Boston 4, Montreal 3. Lafleur coming out rather gingerly on the right side. He gives it into Lemaire, back to Lafleur. Oh!
The sickest Montreal Canadiens podcast.
You're in the ball!
Sports entertainment like no other.
Rejoint, on lui fait perdre la rondelle, une passe devant. Et c'est le dégagement et ce sera la victoire des Canadiens. Coupe Stanley pour les Canadiens. Leur 23e de l'histoire.
You found the dogs! John, you found the dogs! He found the dogs! And all together, they worked a young team to the top. And now, a 24th Stanley Cup banner will hang from the rafters of the famous Forum in Montreal. The Canadiens win the Stanley Cup!
Brought to you by Energy Transportation Group. Driven to be different. La Vie.tv. Embrace your true nature. And Playground, your premier gaming destination. It's gonna be sick.
Marinaro, the Sick Podcast. Let me see if I still know how to do this again, because the last time I did it was back on, when was it, 6 days ago. But here I am live from Portugal. As you can tell, the backdrop isn't the exact same backdrop that I have back home, which is a pretty nice backdrop. Thank you very much. With graffiti of the Sick Podcast all over my walls. And this is I don't know. It's a patio door. It is what it is. We're going to try and make what we can of it. I am in Portugal, and so once again, the last podcast for me was back on the 28th of December. So it's my first opportunity on the Sick Podcast, that is, to wish you all a very, very happy New Year. And I wish you nothing but health and happiness to all of you watching and all of you listening, because pretty much everything else is secondary. The Sick Podcast, of course, brought to you in part by Energy Transportation Group, named by the Financial Times as one of America's fastest growing companies in 2023, recognized by the Globe and Mail as a top growing Canadian company for 2 years in a row. They work with some of the biggest Fortune 500 companies, providing end-to-end logistics services. Join a winning team and check out Energy's career page for available opportunities. The Sick Podcast also brought to you in part by Playground, where I'm hearing, even here in Portugal, that the party that took place at Playground on New Year's Eve was one for the ages. Experience the world-renowned poker experience with free food and drinks at their cash game tables. That's right. This is one casino where you get free food and drinks at your cash game table. A bad beat jackpot that's already over $700,000 after the world record-setting amount of $2,590,000 was won back on August the 2nd. Weekly promotions, daily tournaments, unmatched customer service. Why play anywhere else? Located just over the Mercier Bridge, only minutes from downtown Montreal. Playground. Also brought to you in part by Accent Insurance Solutions, a new sponsor as of last month to the Sick Podcast. And you all know that insurance isn't created equal, and you know where to find the right solution for you. Accent Insurance. Accent doesn't sell insurance. They shop it for you to find the right product, right on the money, whatever your insurance needs, home, automobile, or business. And it's funny because every time I see the Accent phone number that comes up here on the screen, I think of my buddy Sergio Mamesso, who wore number 36, because the number to call is 514-363-3636. And I don't have one with me, unfortunately, but brewed in Quebec and a winner of a dozen international awards. The Sick Podcast is also brought to you in part by Labititb, offering quality microbrewery beers made with premium ingredients for everyone's taste. Labititb, embrace your true nature. I don't know if he's ever had to wait about 3 or 4 minutes before saying hello, but the Sick Podcast is growing, and so is our list of sponsors. My first opportunity on camera to say hello to former NHLer, Philippe Boucher. Comment ça va?
Hello, ça va bien toi? Good to see you.
Ça va très, très bien. It's good to see you as well, my man. Happy New Year to you and yours.
Yeah, same to you and the people listening in Portugal. Hey, that's nice. Hey, got to watch a little soccer over there.
Yeah. My son, who plays U19 down here, who's been here since the 9th of July, he came back to Montreal on the 17th of December. We spent about 11 or 12 days together, and on the 29th, he flew out, and I decided to fly out with him. So I'm going to be spending a couple of weeks here. Watch a couple of his games, one on the 6th and one on the 13th, and then I'll be back on the 14th. So
that's impressive. Good luck.
Thank you very much. I am about 15 kilometers south of Braga, and it's a real nice town, a real nice place. Everything's nice here. Everything's 15 degrees today. I had a chance to watch practice. It was nice, and it wasn't too cold. It was good. It was good.
Yeah.
All right.
Little chillier here.
Yeah, listen, the 3-game losing streak is a thing of the past.
Yeah.
And so is the 7-game road trip, which was split up in 2, of course, because some games were before the Christmas holidays and some games after the Christmas holidays. A road trip that saw the Canadians go 500.
Yeah.
Well, Boucher, if I would have told you before the road trip that the Canadians were going to go 500, I think you would have taken it, would you not?
Oh, I would have taken it, and I doubted it. I thought there was no chance they would go 500. As a veteran player on a team, it would have been tough for me to look at that schedule and say, well, this is going to be fun. This is going to be an easy road trip. There's no easy 7-game road trip, but you want to be with your family. You want to be with your close ones. And I'm sure the Canadians arranged a few things for the players to be comfortable for Christmas. I know the Christmas break was a little bit longer, but when you look at the opponent that he played, Winnipeg wasn't a sure win. The Wild wasn't a sure win. Chicago was the must-win, the only must-win game or available game of that road trip that you could potentially say Montreal's going to win that one. That was it. When you go to Florida, it's not easy these days. And then when you go to Dallas, I watched the entire game last night. Dallas is a very good team, and it was a false start for the Canadians, but Montembeault was outstanding. Thanks to him last night. But it's nice to see that they can go on the road. They can compete against very good team. They can stay in the hunt for a playoff. I'm not saying they're a playoff team, but at least we're talking about it. Maybe they're going to get to put a standing in the locker room sooner or later to, hey guys, maybe we didn't believe it. People don't believe it, but we're in this together. Why not try to make a push? Why not try to get into the playoffs? A lot of that will go along with what management's going to decide to do. Now, if they trade Monahan, Savard, and a couple other guys, it's going to be tougher for them to get a chance to make a push for the playoffs. But I like what I see. I like the compete level. It wasn't perfect last night. Even Martin St. Louis said, no, the last 5 minutes were tough. And I like what he said. My team is learning. I'm learning. I like the coach saying that. I'm learning. And then, but we got the 2 points, and it's a good road trip. And hats off to them. I didn't believe they could do it. It was this time of the year, at any time of the year, for that matter, with a tough road trip like that.
It was a victory signed Samuel Montembeault, who was the first star in the hockey game. I mean, the Montreal Canadiens almost got doubled in shots in last night's game. But what I liked, Phil, about the win last night was Montembeault made the big saves at the right time. He made some big saves when they were up 2-1. And he made other big saves. I think at 3-1, he may have made another couple of big ones. I'm going to try and get to them in a second. Yeah. But he got run support last night, right? He got run support. He got a little bit of everything. He got 5-on-5 goals. He got goals from his offense. He got goals from his defense. They scored goals on the counter. They scored a goal in the power play. Yeah. So look, he was the best player for the Canadians last night. And he was the first star. Yeah. But he didn't only steal it, right? I mean, they were worthy in a way. Look, once again, he was the best player. If he's average last night, they lose. But there were a lot of positives. It wasn't only Montembeault.
Well, that's a tough goal to give up early in the game, right? It wasn't his fault. And then what do you do after that? Well, you stand tall, you make saves, and the team in front of him played really well. The shots really got out of hands because when you play against Dallas is a very good team. Their goalie wasn't very good, but Dallas is a very good team. And when they go all offense, you're going to give up some shots. You have to. They took the goalie out with 6:38 left, I think, in the third. So you're going to give up a lot of shots. So most of those shots came in the second half of the game and mainly in the third. But what I like is the end. Montembeault made the key saves after the first goal, made key saves throughout the game, but they answered really well. And Slafkovsky played a hell of a game last night. Only one assist, but he was on the Harris goal. He was the one on the back check. And on the power play goal, he's the one that makes a smart play at the blue line to get the puck down low to allow later on, after a couple passes, Caulfield to score. So Slafkovsky was very good. And I have to bring him up. Stéphane Robidas, he was there last night behind the bench, an old teammate of mine in Dallas. I know that game meant a lot to him because, we spent a lot of years there together. Yeah. But what about his group of defensemen? Like, honestly, to take a coach from, and I had no doubt Stéphane could do it, but to go get a coach in midget AAA, when you have a coach coming from the Pee Wee level, right? We talked a lot about that. We know Martin St. Louis now can coach, and not too many people were downing it. It was out of the box, but when you go get Stéphane Robidas, a professional, played at all level, worked with Toronto, worked in the midget level, had success at that level, comes to the NHL, and you see his group of defensemen play like that. I had doubts that they could sustain the pressure all year long, being too young. Savard helps a lot. Since Savard has been back, they're playing much better back there. But to allow them to play, to encourage them to go up on the rush and to be able to contribute offensively without costing too much defensively, but to contribute offensive. Thank God for that this year, because Montreal is not scoring a lot of goals. So if it's not for the push that those Ds are making with the help of Stefan Robidas, Montreal doesn't get back into that game last night, and we don't talk about them being 4 or 5 points out of the playoff spot right now.
30 goals from their defensemen thus far this season. 30 goals. Tops in the National Hockey League, ahead of Colorado.
Yeah.
That's really something.
Hey, who would have guessed that? Nobody. Nobody would have said that. We all like the youth. We all like the players. Matheson is a good offensive player. Even Savard is contributing offensively. Barron, I did not see Barron being able to pick up the slack at some point offensively. And he has been scoring some goals, but everybody has goals on the back end, which is truly amazing to see.
Harris, that's a big goal for him because, look, I don't think one goal is going to change where his career is or where it's going to go. But because Struble has been playing so well, and because the Canadians have so many quality defensemen and they have more on the way, we're all talking about you can't keep them all at one point, and someone's going to be expendable. And we've been wondering what Harris's X factor is. And his X factor is that he's a smart player. That's his X factor.
Yeah.
But the downside to his game is very little offense.
Yeah.
And yesterday, you talked about it, starting with Slafkovsky on the back check, who's able to tie up a man. There's a loose puck. The puck goes the other way, and Harris is off to the races, and he goes on the counter. A left-handed shot playing the right side, and a quick wrist shot. I don't think the goalie expected Jordan Harris to shoot. Probably knew his stats.
He looked away, the old look away.
Yeah, but that's right. Look one way and then shoot. Surprise the keeper, and so there's something there offensively that we saw last night that we haven't seen yet this year. But there's something there.
Well, I think there is, and it was there's two places where you can score. Short side, top shelf. A lot of people will say, those are bad goals. They're barely unstoppable. And stick side over the pad below the blocker is a perfect shot. That was yesterday a perfect shot in that goal. And can he bring up the numbers offensively? I'm not sure he can. Will he ever be a first power play guy? I don't think so. Can he be a Don Sweeney for the people that, Don Sweeney is a good GM. I played with him. Can he be a guy that's
a good one,
gives you the 15, 16 minutes, good skater, gets involved physically a little bit, and finds a partner? Like who's gonna become the number 1 D in Montreal and the number 2 D in Montreal remains to be seen. And who's going to be a good fit with that guy? Hey, if he becomes the fit for Goalie, he's going to play 800 games in Montreal. If you can find a chair next to him. Can he be that? I don't know. One thing for sure, we talked a lot, and everybody talked a lot about Xhekaj going to Laval. We don't talk about that anymore as much anyway. And then I was one of those saying, okay, we'll see when Harris comes back. How much do they like him? How much do they believe in him? And there was no sending him to Laval. There was a chance to send him there. Send him for conditioning. Bring back Xhekaj. No, you're ready. You're healthy. You're back in the lineup. Go have some fun, enjoy yourself. That's how much the coaching staff and the organization believes in him. And that confidence that they show in him shows on the ice right now because he was very good last night.
If last night's ice time is an indication, Harris is a regular, there's no doubt about it. And the guys who had the least amount of ice time last night were Kovacevic and Justin Barron. And the fact that Harris doesn't have the least amount of ice time, once again, with a left-handed shot playing on the right side, that says a lot about what they think about his game. And, I've said this before, and I'm going to say it again. Kovacevic, I think, is going to be in trouble. I mean,
he might. And Barron, honestly, last night he took the lead, so you don't need Barron as much to be in the game once he took the lead. It's pretty amazing that Robidas was able to play all those guys. I hated to play with 7Ds, and I hated the coach. When I was a coach, I was a head coach, but I did not like dressing 7 guys on the back end. All of those guys were almost at 13 minutes, so that was 12 and a half and more. But I agree with you. I think Kovacevic could be in trouble if he can't find a partner, just like I said for Harris.
Yeah.
Barron, as many goals as he scored, if the group of Ds keeps scoring and they don't need him as an offensive weapon, I think he might fall out of favor. Even though I like him a lot, I almost drafted him in Quebec, and I've seen his junior career, and my son played with him in Colorado. He's a great kid. It might be hard for him when everybody is healthy. And if we keep some veterans around, I hope they are. I hope they are going to keep some veterans around. Then Barron could be the one falling out of favor. If they don't dress, who's out if they don't dress 7Ds next game?
Yeah,
one of the comments, couple of forwards up, right? Or I don't think Anderson will play, but
one of the we'll get to Josh Anderson in just a minute, of course, because last night with the score of 4-1, he seemed to have either tweaked his right ankle or right knee. He favored that right leg going off. Taken to the locker room, didn't return. Still no word because the Canadians were on an off day today as they prepared to take on the Buffalo Sabres tomorrow and then the New York Rangers on Saturday. So they're back home for a couple of games, then they'll go back on the road for one. But, earlier you said we're not talking about Xhekaj anymore. And we're not talking about Xhekaj anymore. And the reason why we're not talking about Xhekaj anymore is Jayden Struble. Yeah. Now, Jayden Struble, they eased him into the lineup. Mm-hmm. They didn't give him too much. They gave him just enough. And they did that for a while. And then they took a next step and they gave him a little bit more. And then they did that for just a while. And then they gave him the next step and they gave him a little bit more. Struble last night was 62 seconds of ice time off of Gouli. As the third most used Canadians defenseman, of course, Matheson was 1, Gouli was 2. 62 seconds off of Gouli. Isn't that something?
Listen, I watched more games this year. Obviously, I was running a junior hockey team last year and doing a little media, and I didn't have time to watch in depth all the games. But Montreal, when they bring up, there's always a plan behind whatever they do, right? So Harris, for them, he's a lock. He's an NHL player. We don't need to send him to Laval. There's a message being sent to Xhekaj, probably sending him down there. Because for me, if Xhekaj is going to be just a tough guy and the guy playing the second power play, he's going to need to be able to be on the ice against top lines, top teams at key moments. And that's a problem that Xhekaj had. That's why he's in Laval, and he's going to play some minutes there. But Struble comes in. They knew exactly what they had. They needed to be patient, to learn the pro level, the pro system, be on the bus in the American Hockey League a little bit, come to the NHL, get a feel of the water a little bit, but they know what they have. And now what Struble can do, he can go into Dallas and play against Pavelski and play against the top guys. And it took a little bit of time. They protected him a little bit, but he was very good last night. He's very good on this road trip. He's a big body, big boy. Don't think he's as tough as Xhekaj can be, but there's not as much fighting in the NHL. And he's proving to everyone right now that he's an NHL caliber player. And he's ahead of Xhekaj. He's ahead of Harris. I'm not going to say he's ahead of Gouli. I like Gouli a lot. Hopefully he can challenge Gouli to be the best young defenseman within the organization and moving forward. But it's pretty impressive because, again, I was very busy before. I didn't watch as many hockey games. I can't say I really knew Struble from the college game because I wasn't involved at that level. I know most of the junior players, and hats off for them to sign him, to take time to let him play over there, and to grow into this body. Take a little bit of experience down in Laval, and now he's an NHL player already.
Both you and I are collaborators on GEC, Jean-Charles Lajoie's show on TVA Sport. And Jean-Charles was probably the first one to bring it up. And he said he sees Xhekaj as a fourth-line winger. And a lot of people didn't like the suggestion. I didn't mind it. I thought there was something there. There have been a lot of tough guys who ended up switching from defense to the wing. And if you can play defense, you can play the wing. And, and there's been a lot of tough guys on defense who ended up staying defensemen. Okay. So, some people like the suggestion, some people do not, but I take a look at Struble on the left side right now. Let's not forget that even though Harris is playing on the right side, he is a left-handed shot. You got Michael Matheson on the left side. You got Gouli on the left side. You got Lane Hudson coming. You have on the right side, you have Kovacevic right now and Barron, who, yes, could be expendable. David Savard, who might be at one point. You'll have Logan Mailloux and David Reinbacher, waiting in the wings. I don't think I don't think the suggestion of Xhekaj on the wing is as crazy as some people think it is.
There's one through NHL right-handed defenseman. It's Savard. Is he going to be around? I like Kovacevic, but and so if you're not able to be a left-handed defenseman that can go switch to play on the right side and find a home like Harris is doing, it's going to be tough to crack that lineup because, like you just you said it really well. There's a lot of depth at that level. So could you bring him up to be a left winger? And to replace Pezzetta, because you don't need two. Pezzetta, I've always wondered, why is he always in Montreal? Never a doubt that he's going to be in Montreal. Obviously, he must be very good in the locker room, and I've had a lot of teammates that were very good in the locker room, and they played a role. There's not that much fighting in the NHL, but when needs be, he's there. And he played a really good game last night, to be honest. He was very, very good. Pezzetta last night, I watched him a little bit closer than I usually do. He's very effective. Could Xhekaj do that? Does he have the skating, the ability to finish hits? Obviously, the toughness, there's no doubt. Yeah. At some point, if he wants to be in the NHL, he's going to have to be better than all the left-handed defensemen that you mentioned, and it's going to be tough. So Montreal is going to have assets to move out, right? So whenever in a year or two they want to improve the team, they'll have some good young players to move. Could he move up back in the ranks? Maybe. Could he be used on the left wing? Well, I guess we could know the answer fairly soon because we finished the game with 10 forwards last night. So if they want to try it, I think some guys would be a little bit mad in Laval, right? If Joshua Waugh doesn't get called up or whoever is playing well down there, or there's a Heineman or whatever. But could you try him now? That would give us the answer. But to me, I don't hate the suggestions. They make a whole lot of sense, especially 15 years ago when some guys were really switched from defense to forward to be that big body that would fight a lot up front. I don't hate the idea. I don't say it makes no sense at all. It does make some sense. But as long as you have Pezzetta there, and if you do it now, it basically means you give up on him on it as a defenseman. And I think you got to give him a little bit of time. You got to give him a little bit of time on the back end.
But if you do it now, so let's just say there's no plans to trade Michael Matheson in the next couple of years. So then Matheson's a lock. Mm-hmm. And then Gouli's a lock. And the way Struble is playing,
he's a lock.
Struble's a lock. Yeah. And so
that's a good left hand. That's 3 good D you got on that side already.
Okay, so then at that point, and Xhekaj can't play on the other side.
No.
So at that point, I know if you switch him now, you're giving up on him. But if you switch him now, I can make the argument that you're probably giving him a head start for what's to come.
It could be. It could be. Well, we're not. Is there any calls around the league for him right now? Could they move him? Because obviously you don't want to. You don't want to keep a guy that can play because he proved to us last year on a very average team that he could play in the NHL.
He's an NHLer for sure.
Yeah, he's a borderline NHL on. Listen, he could play in Montreal. Montreal drafted a lot of defensemen. They've done a good job, but on a team that's struggling, I don't see him play in Dallas or I don't know. But on a few teams, he could be an NHL player. But all of those organizations are spending time with their own guys to trying to make them a good player. So they're not going to give him away. They're not going to give him up. They're not going to move him for a 5th round pick because he played in the NHL. He's as tough as they come. They're hard to find. To me, I'd like to be in the office and to see what they're thinking. Why they sent him there to play big minutes. It was a message when they never put him on the power play. We all thought he was going to be there for a couple games and come back. Well, he's still down there right now. We're playing 7 guys here that are playing fairly well. You could be right. I'm just struggling. To me, unless it was brought up to him, unless he's offering it and he knows that it might be coming, it could be devastating for him to be put on the left side because he has all the rights to believe that, hey, listen, I'm a defenseman. I played in the NHL. I can help the team. I love Montreal. People love me in Montreal. But if it's not going to work out here, let me go somewhere else where I can be a defenseman.
Let's, if we can, recap a couple of, key moments in last night's game. You talked about giving up a goal early on, 11 seconds in. Michael Matheson, of course, mishandles the puck behind the net and ends up in front, and bang, bang, boom. All of a sudden, it's 1-0 for Dallas. Matheson, I guess the tape doesn't lie, right? He is who he is. He's going to overhandle the puck because he likes to handle the puck a lot. So when you handle the puck a lot, you're going to end up overhandling it from time to time. And from time to time, you're going to end up doing special things with the puck. I guess you're Marty St. Louis, you're Stéphane Robida. You close your eyes because at the end of the night, you know that you're going to you're going to be on the positive side of things. You're going to get more than.
Yeah, I think so. He does. He's been asked a lot of it. It's weird to say that where Montreal does not have a quarterback. They don't have a guy to play the first power play, but we have 30 goals from the back end, which it's kind of weird to say that. But for now, he's been asked to take pressure off of a lot of guys offensively on the power play. And sometimes when you do take a lot of chances, when you get back 5-on-5, and I'm not sure he's a number 1 power play guy, but when you get back 5-on-5, you tend to take too many chances. I think maybe his stick was touched on that one, or I'm not sure it was all him throwing the puck in the front of the net. I think he was touched a little bit, but I like what he brings, and I think more than anything, the coaches probably would tell us what he brings to the locker room is very important. Also, he's proud to be in Montreal. He's proud to wear the jersey. He's eating up a lot of minutes. Right? He played last night. He only played about 21 minutes last night. It's not too much because the rest of the team played pretty well. Obviously, they had 7 guys, but when they had injuries and when some guys were struggling, he was the one playing 27, 28 minutes, not saying anything, taking a lot of the heat. So I think what he brings on the ice to me is more than acceptable. It's actually fairly good. It comes with mistakes, but what he brings to the locker room, Suzuki is a good leader. He's playing really well, by the way. We don't talk about him all that much, but he's playing really well. But he needs help on the leadership side, and not just from Gallagher. He needs help from Monahan. He needs help from Matheson. Savard being back in the lineup is going to help a lot. So I like what he brings, and it comes with a mistake here and there. But as an older defenseman, you can make some here and there if you produce. When I see Barron making some mistakes, I just wonder how much longer are they going to accept some of those mistakes from on his end.
You talked about Suzuki, and I look at this season, and the Canadians are 5 points out of a wild card spot, and which is pretty admirable. I think it's pretty cool. I see Suzuki, and it's been like this, up and down, up and down. I see Caulfield, and it's been up and down, up and down. At times, not recently, not in the last month, but Slafkovsky was up and down too, where, you would see a bright spot, and then all of a sudden for 7 or 8 games, everyone in the city was asking when they're going to send them down to Laval. But Matheson, it's been up and down. And it's funny because when Suzuki is on the way he's been on over the last little while, and Caulfield has scored in 3 straight games, no one asks if they're first-line players. And then they go in those down moments where Suzuki's got a point in 6 games and Caulfield hasn't scored in 6. Yeah. And then everyone's, a lot of people are saying, well, Caulfield is a second-line player and Suzuki is a second-line player. But it's just growing pains, I guess, right?
It is, and then he played 22 and a half minutes last night, the most used player, and he would have been used that much even if they played with 12 forwards at the end of the game. He's the guy that they use the most. I think he's having a good year. When production is a little bit lower, sometimes you have to look on his wing, right? Caulfield has been struggling and all that. And they don't have the help. As Caulfield struggle, it's not like you bring Brett Hull on his side, like when in Detroit you had Brett Hull and Luke Robitaille on the fourth line. They could move them up to Steve Yzerman on the first line, and he could keep producing. When Caulfield doesn't produce, then Suzuki, it's a little bit harder for him. But I think he's been having a good year. He's learning the ropes about playing against top guys, playing big minutes, being the captain on a team that's it's moving up. And then, but when we talk about Caulfield, I think the last time about 2 weeks ago we did a podcast together, and I talked about it on GC2 a little bit. And Martin St. Louis, no, we're asking him to be more reliable defensively. Bullshit. No, they were not asking him to be more responsible defensively. Martin St. Louis was covering up for Caulfield that was struggling. You want Caulfield to score goals. Sorry, you want him to be a top guy offensively. You don't need him to block shots and to kill penalties. He was protecting him and trying to teach him to go inside. And what he's doing recently, he's scoring all those goals, within about 5 or 10 feet of the net. And if he can start doing that, he's going to be a threat on the power play. He's going to be a threat on the one-timer when he pops in and out of there. But he was way too predictable staying in the Ovechkin spot where Ovechkin scored 800 goals that way. But he doesn't have that shot. He has a good shot, but he doesn't have the players to set him up. So what they were trying to get him to do is to go inside. And funny things happen, right? On his birthday, he got to score a goal last night. Couple tip-ins, couple goals on the back end because he's so gifted. Like, give him a puck around the net, he's going to put it in.
You saw that in Tampa when he stripped Stamkos of the puck.
It takes nothing for him to score a goal. So it's just it's going to hurt a little bit more. It's a process to get him to go there because it's fun on the power play to be on your one timer and to wait for the puck. I got to do that for 2 years with Zubov and Ribeiro, and it was fun. All I had to do was stay there, and they would bring everybody over there and give it to me. I was all by myself. If I missed the goalie, it was a goal. But they don't have the top talent to free him on that side. So now he's going inside. Now he's getting rewarded, and they do look like a number one line on a good team. That power play goal started with Slafkovsky. I think it was down to Suzuki, to Monahan, to Caulfield. It was beautiful. Correct. That's as textbook as it gets. It was very, very good.
You brought up Ribeiro. I think Mike had an 83-point season in Dallas, if I'm not mistaken, something like that. I mean, huge numbers. More than a point a game, but no one ever considered him a number one centerman. So you see some people say, well, if you get a point a game, you're number one center. Well, Ribeiro did, and he was a considered.
Well, we had Modano on the team, so whenever they have Suzuki and a healthy Kirby Dach that pushes them as a number one or number two, or whoever can come in to do that, then you become a much better team.
Fitting that the captain, Nick Suzuki, scores the first Montreal Canadiens goal of 2024. Nick Suzuki, who you saw him wire a pass from Slafkovsky, who I think has a better shot than probably even he thinks he does.
Slafkovsky?
Suzuki.
Suzuki has a good shot. He's a pass. I think he wants to be a pass first kind of guy because he wants. I think he's a leader. He's a good man. When Caulfield struggles, he feels the pain. He wants to help him. So he's looking a little bit too much. But he scored a lot of goals on that power play, just coming on, not on his one-timer side, but just in a look away and ripping it up top. He has a very good shot. Now we like to compare him to Patrice Bergeron. If he's ever that good, Montreal is going to win a lot of hockey games. It's a lot of pressure to compare him, but Bergeron was like that too. He could pass, he could shoot. You never knew what he was going to do. Sakic was like that. Yzerman was like that. And I think, and you would think they're a pass first kind of guy, and all of a sudden, boom, it's in the back of the net. And Suzuki, a lot of those guys, I think they're lacking a little bit of confidence and playmaking abilities around them. I think Slafkovsky's a hell of a playmaker. Once he finds his confidence, he's going to set up a lot of goals. And then same thing for him. He has a hell of a shot, just doesn't know how to use it just yet.
Man, did he look comfortable in setting up Suzuki on that goal? That tied it at 1. He just head up, saw Suzuki, and it seems like he's starting to find open ice too, right? He's winning puck battles. It seems like when he does pick up the puck, there's a lot of room where before the room used to close in on him.
Yeah.
Now all of a sudden there's a lot of room, and his confidence has never been higher right now. Slafkovsky.
I have nothing in this game, right? I'm not a Montreal Canadian fans, but we talk about hockey every day, so it's a lot more fun to talk about it in a positive way. And then when you look at him go, I think he has all the abilities to be the best player in the Montreal Canadiens. And what I like is his attitude. I watched his interview after the game, and he's having fun, and he's just a kid.
Yeah.
He is a kid. Like, remember when I played in the NHL when I was 19. It wasn't easy, right? I was kind of lost, not too sure what to do, and I wasn't a number one overall pick with the pressure of being in Montreal. It seems like he's having fun, and it's if Montreal want to have a good team, a lot of it is going to have to go through him. And it's fun. It's fun to see a player grow, and everybody knew with a big body player you need to be patient. But sometimes those big body players, there's two things that can happen. They become what they're supposed to be. They become what Martin Lapointe and the scouting staff of Montreal saw in him, and they become a Joe Thornton or a very good NHL player, or they were just too big and too strong at the Pee-wee, Bantam, Midget, Junior level, and then everybody's catching up. I think for him, Slafkovsky, it's to catch up to his body, catch up to his size, and learn what to do with it and have fun, and then everything is going to come out. And I think we're starting to see a lot come out right now. Confidence, patience. The back check yesterday on Harris' goal was great.
Yeah.
Played big minutes, was on the ice. I wish he could have been a little bit more selfish. He could have ended the game a lot earlier. I think it was at 4-1. He had the puck at the red line. It looked like he was with an empty net. He was kind of looking for someone. Just go get a goal, because once you get one or two, I think there will be eventually no stopping him with a good team. He's going to be a very, very good top six player, and it's fun to see it happening slowly but surely with the Canadian.
So said this often in the last 3 or 4 weeks, but I'll say it again. I think it's safe to say that Jeff Gordon, Kent Hughes, and Marty St. Louis were right that the development path for Slafkovsky was Montreal, and Montreal was the right choice. And there's a lot of people who thought that it was not the right choice, and it looks like it's paying dividends right now. And I'll also say this, and I'm no scout by any means, but so I wouldn't be surprised. Number one picks are usually supposed to go on and have great careers, but Slafkovsky is going to be a better two-way player than I would have ever imagined. You talked about the back check yesterday. That's not the first back check we've seen this season. This guy is going to be a 200-foot player who plays on the wing. Now, Yuri Lettin was able to do it.
Yeah.
And Brad Marchand's a great 200-foot player now at this stage of his career as well as a winger.
Yeah.
But you don't usually see many 200-foot players who are wingers who are that good. Slafkovsky is going to be much better two-way player than I ever thought, I ever imagined.
Whatever message you're sending him, or it's just the person he is, but he doesn't seem to be worried about points, right? He wants to become a better player. He wants to understand the game. He wants to be effective. He wants to help the team win, and he wants to play in every situation. When I'm saying you don't want to stop Caulfield. You want to go over the board, go score some goals. Yeah, you need to be better at this, better than that, but we need you to be a goal scorer. I think on Slafkovsky, you don't have the pressure. Pressure is on the other guys to perform. Sooner or later, it's going to come. But do this right, do that right. Protect your puck. Be big in the corners. Finish your hits. Be hard to play against. Know how to play defensively, because you're going to become that guy that's probably with Suzuki when the time comes, that's going to play 21, 22 minutes in key games once you get into the playoffs. And I think that's what they're getting. There's a lot of superstars around the NHL, all offense and all that, and it's good, right? I'm not going to compare him to McDavid. That's at another level, but there's some very good offensive players. But I think to win, for him to have a good career, he's going to have to learn to use his body, use his strength, and that's what he's doing right now. Once he learns that, he's going to be tough to stop, and the points are going to come. It's just a matter of time before those goals and assists come.
So Suzuki scores on the one-timer on the feed by Juraj Slafkovsky. Caden Gooley scores on a blast off of a rebound. Jordan Harris scores after Slafkovsky makes that great play back in his own zone, and he's off the other way on the counter. on a no-look wrist shot. And Cole Caulfield, I think it was Montembeault at the end of the game. I believe it was Montembeault who said, like, that fourth goal was really important for us. Right? It gave them, they say the worst lead in hockey is a 2-goal lead, but a 3-goal lead has to be a pretty good lead in hockey. And the power play, Slafkovsky keeps it in, and once again, from Suzuki to Monahan to Cole Caulfield. Goal scorers are like that, right? When it doesn't go in, it doesn't go in, and when it goes in for 5 or 6 games in a row.
Yeah, and it was a key goal because, like you said before, when you had on certain teams, you had a 1-goal lead, you were done. The game was over 20 years ago with the trap and the way the hockey was played and the red line and everything. And then the 2-goal lead wasn't very safe for a while. Now there's no lead that are safe in the NHL. It's kind of the junior level. Like at the junior level, when I was coaching, you're up 4-0. I was up 5-0 one game with 7:21 left, and we lost in Victoriaville. I remember that for the rest of my life. And you try to stop the bleeding. You call a timeout, you do everything, and you can't stop it. And we see that at the NHL level right now. Montreal was playing really well. They were in control. They were giving up a few shots. That fourth goal was big, but Dallas kept coming. And I don't like taking the goalie out with 6.5 minutes like they did yesterday. But you say, listen, man, we're going to try. Why not? I'm not sure if he's done that before, but sooner or later, I got the weapons. I got the horse. I'm going to do it. And then that fourth goal became very convenient when they turned it on and they were able to get 2, and Montreal was able to hold on.
2 or 3 more things I want to talk to you about very quickly, but Montembeault, with his second game in a row, we all know the 3-goalie system. For a while there, they wanted to see what Primo could do at the National Hockey League level. You probably wanted to see if Allen can increase his value a little bit. And now, once you're 5 points out of a wild card spot, like we talked about, Montembeault is the number one reason why you win in Dallas.
Mm-hmm.
The 3-goalie system is going to continue. You would think that there's nothing on the horizon just yet, but does Montembeault's usage change now that they're off a 507-game road trip? They're back at home for a couple of games. They're gonna, they're not playing back-to-backs here. They're gonna have ample time off. Do you think we start seeing Montembeault even more?
If I'm the coaching staff, I want him in the net because I want to make the playoffs. We want to win hockey games. We're close. If I'm the coach, I want Montembeault to play more because he deserves it. He earns it. On the management side, what do they know that we don't know? Is there obviously you did not want to lose Primo. You kept him. You got to play him, and now you realize, okay, Primo can be a backup in the NHL. We never know after that. So we know that now. You get Allen. Well, does he have a value? They know that because they're getting calls or not. Are they getting calls for Allen? So if Allen, they're getting calls on him, he needs to play a little bit. And we believe that we got the answer with Montembeault that can be a number one. Is he a 1+ in the NHL? Maybe not, but I think he can be a very good number one, and he deserves a chance. So how long can you play those 3 cards? That's the question. If I'm the coach, I'm pushing. I want Montembeault in the net. If we now we're going to get some games at home. If we can win some games at home, we can get closer. Never know. Hey, do whatever you have to do upstairs. Trade Savard, trade Monahan, but let me try to make the playoffs with the guys I have on the ice. And with the guys I have on the ice, Montembeault is the best goaltender. I don't like the 3-goalie rotation, but I think at the end of it, the organization's going to get what they wanted out of those 3, which is a number 1 goalie, a backup that's a younger backup in Primo, and they're going to get a little something for Allen, but I hope sooner than later. That would put Montembeault in the net. Because I think there's so many teams struggling with goaltending that Allen could go help. But if it hasn't been done yet, I don't know, is it ever going to be done?
All right. At one point, there was a report, I think it was Dave Pagnotta, the fourth period, give or take probably 3 weeks ago or whatever it was, that the Canadians were thinking of talking or were talking extension with Sean Monahan. I said I was surprised by that news. As much as he's a good player, I said I was surprised. And now we're hearing that other reports that there are teams that are calling for Sean Monahan, and I think that makes a lot more sense. Monahan, who played over 20 minutes yesterday, great pass on the power play, but unfortunately he finished the night -3. By the way, but Jake Evans played over 20 minutes.
I love him. I like him a lot. I've said that on GC. I think maybe with you once too. And I put Ilonen in that category at the time. That was about a month and a half ago. I think the main thing was Jake Evans, but more of Jake Evans, Montreal's a better team. Jake Evans can be a number 3 center with the Montreal Canadiens, and he can fill in any holes. He could go on the power play. He can kill penalties. He can help on the second line when somebody goes down. He can do everything. He reminds me of Stu Barnes way back, where the guy was always on the fourth line but played 18 minutes a night. And I think Jake Evans can be that. If Montreal is ever going to win, ever going to push for the playoffs and have some success, I think he needs to be a key ingredient of that recipe, because he can play everywhere.
You see, that's very surprising to me. A guy who's been labeled the fourth liner ever since he broke into the National Hockey League.
That's fine. He's only getting better.
And you know what? You've been on this for a while. You've been saying, Tony, I really like Jake Evans, and I think the more they play Evans, the better chance that they're going to have of winning hockey games. And I was like, no, I don't want to see that. But Evans last night plays over 20 minutes.
In a particular role, they need a number 2 center. You can't beat a number 2 center. But if you do have a number 2 center that pushes Suzuki, so you have a very good duo of center. He can beat a third line center, no problem. You're going to need somebody on the fourth line, because then he can pop in and out or you can keep him on the fourth line. Teams that win the Stanley Cup, I'm not saying Montreal is going to win the next 2 years, but teams that want to win, that have aspirations, they have very good players on that fourth line that can move up all the time. And for Monahan, I would do 2 things. I would have on this side, I would talk to the agent and say, hey, well, can I get him? Can I get him for cheap or not? I probably wouldn't say that, but how about this contract? How about that? And then I would listen to offers. I would do both at the same time. And I think that's what they're doing. But if you sign Monahan and he can be a complement on the first line, if Doc gets to the second line with Slafkovsky, I think that was the plan from day one. It could change, but if you have Slafkovsky and Doc and whoever on that line, and it could be Monahan, or you have Monahan on the top line as a not a price ticket that's in the 5, 6, 7 million, but you have him as a decent price. I think then you start becoming a better team. But what is that price? Is he going to sign here $2 million a year for 3 years? I would give him that right now. You probably wouldn't take it, but I wouldn't mind if they sign Monahan at a decent price. I think it would be a wise decision, because what are they going to get for him? And if he stays healthy, I think he can bring. Well, we look at him like he's a 36-year-old. If I'm not mistaken, he's only 28.
He's 29, I think. But
29, just turned 29. Yeah.
I'm still moving him. But then again, we can agree to disagree, and we had different opinions when you said they got to play Evans more, and you're looking pretty good on that one, Phil.
Yeah, I don't see too many guys in Laval ready to come up and help on the top 6.
And
we've drafted a lot of defensemen lately, so maybe that's how you're going to get your help offensively. Oh, Joshua, you got to give him some time, but maybe you're going to move a young defenseman for a top forward at some point.
Phil Boucher, great stuff as always. We'll talk to you soon. Merci beaucoup, mon ami.
All right, take care. Enjoy Portugal.
Merci beaucoup. There you have it. Obrigado. Okay, there you have it. I was a little bit worried, to tell you the truth. The Wi-Fi being what it is, I thought it could be unstable and we might lose you. It was crackling there near the end or in the last couple of minutes or so. So thank you for your patience through all of that. You are my sick army. You are my sick community. For all of you watching live on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter, thank you very much for all the engagement. Very, very much appreciate it. We'll be back tomorrow night, same time, same place. As a matter of fact, though, it's not going to be with me tomorrow because it's going to be right after the hockey game. But the Sick Podcast will go tomorrow night at 10 p.m. Eastern, right after the Canadiens and the Buffalo Sabres. Once again, special thanks to all of our sponsors, Energy Transportation Group, La Bita TB, Playground, and Accent Insurance Solutions. If you liked it tonight, like it, share it with your friends, comment Sick, S-I-C-K, and leave us a 5-star review on Apple. It's our way of feeling the love. For Shane Gaumont, I'm Master Control. I'm Marinaro from Portugal. It is the Sick Podcast. We're all over the world.
And that's a wrap. Hope you don't miss us too much until next time. Follow the Sick Podcast with Tony Marinaro on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, Google Play, and Apple Podcasts. The Sick Podcast is brought to you by Energy Transportation Group, driven to be different. La Vida TB, embrace your true nature. And Playground, your premier gaming destination.